Good evening, everybody, and welcome. It's Tuesday, and we made it. We made it through the picnic. Hard to believe. It was quite a weekend. It really was. I want to talk about it a little bit this evening. Do a little bit of an after-action report. Been thinking a lot about it, and really want to kind of dissect it a little bit. See what worked, see what didn't, and talk about what we're going to do the next time, because there will be a next time. This was a very good experience, I think, for me anyway, and the feedback I've got has been really good so far. But we'll get to that in just a minute. But first, let me tell you what's coming up the rest of this week. Today, I released the first part of a two-part interview with Lester Lefkowitz. If you have not yet sat through this long and interesting interview, make some time and do it, because I think you'll enjoy it. Lester's a character, great photographer. He's got the most amazing photographic history, and lots of good photographs, lots of good stories, and we're only halfway through. I'm going to be meeting with Lester in the next couple of days, actually, and we're going to do part two, which is going to be a lot more photography related, but I mean on the books specifically, on volume 2. Let me, while I'm thinking about it, remind you, if you are interested in getting one of Lester's books, I don't think he ordered enough. Even though he ordered a reprint of the things, I understand that they're already going quite fast. So if you want one, you can either get it by going to the link in the program description below. If you're watching this as a video, you can go through one of my Amazon links to get there, or the best way is to go to Lester's website, which is www.macrophotographer.net, and when you get there, you'll find links to where his book is being sold. So that will take care of the Europe thing and the US thing. It's all set up on his website, so you'll be sure to get one. Thursday, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the picnic, because there are going to be people there on Thursday who won't have heard any of this evening, and I'll want to touch on it a little bit. And also, I'm going to be talking a little bit about checklists and field macro and field equipment and some other things that came up during the picnic. That's still up in the air. My blog post for this week has not yet been released. I've written it, but the last couple of days have been, in fact, the last week has been just a little bit on the hectic side, and I did not get around to getting it posted today, but I will, and it's got a bunch of links and important stuff in it, so you may want to check that out. So the main announcement for this week is what's happening on Saturday. This is a Pazoom weekend. We missed the After Stack weekend, this last one, because of the picnic, and that won't be happening again till next weekend. This is not a Tangent weekend, but it is a Pazoom weekend. And this is going to be an unusually good Pazoom to attend. If you are a Patreon person, then of course you will have received, or will be receiving, an invitation to the Pazoom over on Patreon. If you're not, then now might be a time to seriously consider doing that. Patreon is the organization that folks sign up for when they want to support a content creator. That's what I am. I'm one of them. And the way it works is you make a little monthly donation that goes towards paying me for my work, and then you get other stuff in return. And one of the things you get in return is access to these Pazoom meetings, which we do for 2 hours every other weekend. This is going to be one of the most important ones we've ever done. Not because we have an outside guest coming or anything like that, though we do plenty of that. This is going to be a really focused on education type of 2-hour session. Two of the best photographers in this business these days are members of this Patreon group. And I have talked both of them into talking to us about their latest techniques, the things they're working on. And I work with these guys all the time, and I see their work, and I am super impressed with what I'm seeing. The first person who's going to be presenting on Saturday is Mr. Galloy. You probably know him because he drops by here from time to time, and he has been Klaus has been a friend of mine since he showed up on the scene here, but some of you know him from live streams and from the Zoom meetings. But Klaus has been doing some pretty amazing stuff out in the field. He's been doing some focus stacking, which you'll find a bit hard to believe when you see it. He's getting studio quality focus stacking results using a technique that he has developed. And I have talked him into coming on to the Patreon group and explaining to all of us how he does it, what equipment he's using, and actually give us a demo and show us the whole thing, so you can go out and do it too. This is very, very exciting. It's not very often that you run across somebody who's doing something completely different and completely new. And he's taken the idea of handheld stacking in the field and made it a super powerful tool. If you want to see that, come Saturday and don't miss it. 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock is going to be Klaus's time. We'll have plenty of time for questions and answers too. After that, after we have our usual 5-minute break, when we come back, it's going to be Bud Perrott, who you know as one of the bouncers right here on the live stream. Bud and I go way back, and Bud has been breaking all kinds of records with his photography too, only his stuff is in the studio. And he's been doing some really exciting stuff with lighting and with using some pretty exotic lenses. So I have talked him also into giving an in-depth overview of everything that he is doing to pull off some of the studio shots that he's been doing. And his stuff is amazing. It really is. It's always been good, but as he's fine-tuned a lot of the setup and the equipment and the technique that he's using, his pictures are just spectacular. I saw a new batch of his pictures last week and just decided that we really needed to showcase this work, and people need to see what he's doing so that they can work in the right direction, start doing some of the right stuff to get this kind of quality image. So that's what we've got coming up on Saturday, and this is going to be, hopefully, this will be the first of an ongoing series. We always do updates. We see what people are up to. We look at what new equipment they've got and how they're using it. This is different. This is focused on the work of two people in particular. So yeah, I think you need to be there if you at all possibly can. If you can't, I understand, and maybe we'll see if we can work out something for a YouTube video or some such in the future. But for now, it's a Patreon only thing. So if you're a member of Patreon, try to be there on Saturday, 10 o'clock until noon this Saturday. All right, okay, I can't wait. It's going to be fantastic. So I already mentioned about Lester, and I mentioned about his books. I'll mention one more time before I forget. They are going to go, so don't get mad at me if you didn't get a book. So go to one of the links I gave you and grab it. I also want to thank somebody else before I get into thanking picnic people, and that is, thank you, Graham. Graham sent me a birthday present, a packet of seeds that somehow made it through customs, but yeah, there's a picture of them on the television there. They are, gosh, what are they called? They are, I've forgotten the name already. Portulaca seeds. Ask Amy. She knows what the proper name is. Wolf's Bane or something. I can't remember. But anyway, I had some seeds and I'm growing them outside, but they aren't doing very well. And Graham knows I want to photograph the nice ones, so he sent me some fresh ones from his plants. And I think they died on the way over the Atlantic because they're not shiny like his are. So I'll probably plant these ones as well. So now you know. Thank you, Graham. That was a lovely early birthday present. I do appreciate it. I'm going to say thank you right now to some people who were involved in making this picnic a possibility. And first and foremost is Laura. Laura Guyan, who kind of took over from me not being able to figure anything out about arranging this, and arranged everything, basically. Set up our lovely dinner on Friday night, and made arrangements for the park. She rented a whole park for us for the day on Saturday. And what else? Made arrangements for our picnic at the Irish, well, it's a pub really, not a picnic place. She set all that up, and it was fantastic. It was absolutely marvelous, and if it hadn't been for her, who knows what would have done. We'd probably still be lost in the woods somewhere. So thank you, Laura, for all your work. Thanks also to Tom Miller. Tom was the guy over at the Peoria Parks Department who made it possible for us to have this whole park for the Saturday, even though there was a wedding going on. He cancelled the wedding and kicked those people out so that we'd have the park to ramble in. And that was fantastic. So thank you, Tom. We appreciate you. And, of course, Jimmy Spears down at Jimmy's Pub. Thank you so much for making us all so welcome, Jimmy. We're going to be doing this again. And if we don't do it here in Peoria, you're going to have to drag the pub somewhere else because we'll need that, definitely. Thank you to the people who came to the picnic. Now, I know a lot of you wanted to come and couldn't because, well, first of all, I only dreamt the thing up 4 weeks ago, and it was kind of without any warning. So, yeah, it was not convenient for a lot of people. That's not going to happen again. That's one of the things that I've learned. I'm going to plan this thing well in advance in the future. There's a lot of things I've learned, and I'll be going over some of those as we go. But first I want to thank the people who did come, because some of these folks drove from places like New York. Yes, that New York, the New York in the top right-hand corner. We're in Middle Earth. Alan had to drive, 12 hours? 12 hours to come to the picnic. Way to go, Alan. And everybody came from far away. Even the people who were Illinoisans had to come a long way. So thank you to Amy, to Susan, to Alan, Bill and Bob, Zeno, George and Thomas. And me. I was there. And Laura was there. So we had a blast. It was absolutely everything I had hoped for and not what I expected. Let me try to explain. We got together on Friday night. I knew the dozen or so folks that were coming, and I expected some of them would come early and join me for dinner. I make that sound as if I go out to restaurants for dinner every night and you could just drop in and join me, but I never go out to dinner. So it was me joining them for dinner. But I got lost on the way and walked in after everybody was there, and the feeling that I was walking into a reunion of some kind was overwhelming. These people were so comfortable together. Everybody was sat at the same table and chit-chatting away like they'd known each other forever. And it was a heartwarming and gratifying sight to see. I also pretty much knew who everybody was. Don't know how that happens. I know some of the folks I'd seen at Pazooms and other events, but yeah, I recognized everybody, which was a cool thing too. But we had a lovely dinner. and we sat around and talked and got acquainted and got to know one another. Some of the folks I've known for some time, but usually just long distance. I'd only met a couple of the folks in person, but we had a lovely meal and a lot of fun, lots of laughs, and really a good time. It was wonderful to be able to talk to people that I've communicated with through channels like this. I sat next to Thomas, our winner of the photography competition just a couple of months ago, and talked about the technique he used to photograph his ferrofluid. That kind of thing is really, you can't put a price on that. That was just wonderful. And of course, my co-judge Amy was sitting at the table also, and we got to chat about all kinds of things. So that was wonderful. After we split up for the evening, I spent it seemed like hours talking to Alan and George outside. We had a lot in common, and something that you guys had a lot in common too was you all brought me stuff. You brought me little dead insect bottles, and George brought me this insect attracting death trap. It's a death trap for humans who use it because it's got power running into it from the electricity, but it's for capturing bugs at night. And this kind of thing, it's pretty spectacular that that these people who were in some respects strangers were bringing some really cool stuff, books and gadgets, and mostly dead insects. It's a thing in macro photography. If you're tuning in for the first time and you don't know what in the heck I'm talking about, we're all macro photographers here. We take photographs of small things, and I am a more of an insect photographer than anything else, and these guys knew that, so they were bringing me interesting insects. And some of these I didn't get a chance to tell you how much I appreciated it while you were here, because I hadn't looked at the insects, but some of them are really spectacular. Alan, that tiger beetle, I think that was your tiger beetle and not George's, but that tiger beetle is spectacular. I cannot wait to get it photographed. Anyway, we got together the next day. Laura had everything arranged and brought breakfast and coffee out to this place in the wilderness. It had a little house that didn't have any walls, just had a ceiling on it, a roof, and that's where we gathered. And it was really, really nice. We just sat around and talked. A couple of the folks from in-state joined us, who hadn't been there for the dinner, but I think they probably will come to the dinner next time, realizing what they missed. It was a lovely dinner. But the breakfast was great. We sat around and talked, and we all were looking enviously at Susan's 300mm f2.8 lens, which I had cradled in my arms for most of the time. And we talked macro, we talked equipment, we talked. We just talked, and it was fantastic. This was when Bill and Bob joined us from up in the northern part of the state. Is that right? I think it is. Yeah, it's the other part of the state, anyways, where they came from, and so we had the whole gang there. I gave a short talk, more just an incoherent ramble, really, and that's one of the things that I was not happy about, and certainly would do differently next time. I did not think of this as an educational weekend. I thought of it as a social thing, and that wasn't correct, because it turned into a very educational weekend. It was the kind of gathering where a very special kind of learning was going on, and I think that if I had expected that and known it, I would have put on a slightly more well-prepared discussion. And in the future, I will, because I want to really take advantage of the opportunity of being able to do a little bit of teaching in person. And there would have been a lot more to talk about if I had thought that through. But I went into it thinking it was just a fun social thing, which it most certainly was, but missed an opportunity there, I think, to do a little bit more. When we got through with that, we all headed off into the woods. About half of us went on a rather adventurous hike that ended up going down one mountain and up another. But it was great fun, and we stopped and took pictures along the way, and we were trying to find a pond that we saw on the map. And over the course of 3 or 4 hours, we just completely carpeted that area with macro photographers. We are lying all over the place and taking pictures for hours. Now, I haven't looked at the pictures yet. I've received pictures from everybody that came, and I am going to put them together into I think a video, possibly an article, possibly both. I have taken some of my pictures, and I'm going to show just a few of them to show you what we were getting up to. But as far as I didn't want to spoil anything by showing you the pictures that are going to be in the video. So that will be something separate. In fact, I'll do that now. I think what I'll do is I'll find those pictures that I got out. Now, at the end of the day, I'm going to come back to this, but at the end of the day, as we were getting ready to split up and head over to Jimmy's for our picnic, George went into his car and brought out a camera. It's a magic camera. It's fed by infrared fuel, and it takes infrared pictures. I've never actually seen an infrared picture of a person before, but I'm going to show you one. And yeah, it is. This is quite new to me, but I'm going to show you the only. Well, no, I'll show you two. I've got two pictures to show you that George just sent me this evening, or earlier today. I just opened them this evening. This is the gang. This is all of us. Let me see. There you go. This is the picnic crew right here. And I'm going to blow that up a little bit, I think. Yeah. Now, that is one infrared-looking group of people. Wouldn't you agree? Yep, it's the whole gang, except, no, it was a robot that took the picture for us, so that is everybody right there. George put it on a remote. So this is an infrared photograph. You know, I've never got into infrared. I've read about it, but now as I've seen what it does to people, I kind of like it. I like the effect. It makes me look skinny, and it makes me look like I've got no hair. He also took a picture of me, and this is a bit weird to say this, but this is the only picture I have ever seen of me that I actually like. And I'm right impressed, George. You definitely should be a portrait photographer. This was marvelous. My veins look a little black, but I think that's the infrared. It's a good picture. I like it. Well done, you. So I forgot what got me onto that. Oh, I was going to show some pictures. That's right. Well, I'll tell you what. While I find the rest of them, I'll take that off. See, don't I look better in black and white with my veins all black? For the last 2 days, my head has been crimson and parts of it have been coming off. I got some sunburn because we spent another day out in the sun the following day. I'll get to that in a bit. So what I was most impressed with in the whole time that we were hanging out together, well, I was impressed with a lot of things. I was impressed with how clever these guys and gals are. how much they know, and how talented they are with their cameras, because I was spending time with everybody. As you'll see from the photographs, we were really getting into it. We were climbing around in the long grass, and I was getting covered in chiggers and things like that. But yeah, it was all good. And here I'm going to show some of the pictures that I took just while I'm talking. Actually, some of these were from the next day, because after most folks went back, there were a few that had a long drive and wanted to stay overnight on Saturday. So we got together on Sunday and went to the local botanical gardens. And the local botanical gardens, it's not a huge garden. In fact, it's a very small affair, but absolutely lovely, well kept space. They didn't hand out free hats, so you just had to hope you didn't get too much of a sunburn on your head. But the bug life out there was something to behold. In fact, the cover for this live stream, that praying mantis on the front, was actually something that Alan found and drew my attention to just as we were getting ready to leave. So that was marvelous. Let me see. I'm going to pull this down there so it's out of your way and see what else we got pictures of. There was a lot of this kind of action going on everywhere we went. I guess I don't know. It's not spring anymore, is it? Don't know what that was about, but let me see what else. There was so much stuff to photograph at that botanical gardens. You had to decide what you wanted to crop out of the frame, because any shot would have just 3 or 4 things going crazy in it, which was nice when you're out there. I even took some pictures of things that aren't insects, or I thought I did anyway, but there's an insect in there. They were getting into everything, but yeah, lovely flowers out there. Let's see if I can find some of the pictures from the day before. This is a strange picture that I'll probably talk a little bit about on Thursday. This is one of the metal folk of Peoria, I believe. They had these metal sculptures at the Botanical Gardens that were honestly quite disturbing. I'm hoping this isn't a likeness of a real person. It's actually just one member of a family of metal people that were standing right there. I couldn't stand the thought of having all of them in the picture, so I just got the mother. I think this is the mother. But yeah, so there's that. See what you guys missed by not coming? You could have photographed the metal folk as well. Some of my favorite stuff was buzzing around. This was a long-legged fly. There were loads of these in the park and also at the botanical the next day. Not as many butterflies as I would have liked to have seen, but the ones that were there were gorgeous. This is a buckeye, I believe they call it. Lovely, lovely thing. This is like show and tell, isn't it? I'm going to just show a couple more. The best thing about this weekend was, you know, my job is to help people learn how to do macro photography, but I wasn't doing any of that this weekend. I mean, I was talking to people about it. I was comparing notes, and we were having interesting conversations. But what I witnessed was a bunch of people helping each other learn how to do this better. I was watching people who had never met before, paying close attention to what the others were doing and learning from them, and everybody was giving and taking these impromptu lessons very seriously. It was a really wonderful thing to behold, and certainly something that I would want to really emphasize in any future picnics, workshops that we do. This was pure luck. They have these little white butterflies at the botanical gardens that don't stop for more than a second on a plant. They just land on it, lick it, and then they're off again. And this was violet. There was a little patch of violet, and I just happened to luck out and get one of these guys head on. They're tiny and they're just like bullets, but you know, even a blind hog, so to speak. Let me see what. Well, I got a second picture of the same species. I don't know what they are. Don't know much about butterflies, to be honest, but. Yeah, I like the way he's peeking over the top of that flower. Lovely, lovely day that was. And, well, it appears I actually got 3 pictures of that butterfly. Yeah. Notice, yeah, guy's got a long tongue, see? This was from the botanical gardens. It was a little bit of spray and pray going on. One of my favourite butterflies dropped by as well, also on the same piece of lavender, or yeah, it was lavender, not violet. A skipper, yep. And that's it. That's just a few of the pictures. Now, I mentioned that everybody who went has sent me images. They've sent me pictures of the people, and they've sent me macro images too of their shooting both days if they came on Sunday. I definitely want to showcase the work of each of them, and I'm going to do that probably in an article as well. I just really haven't had the time I needed to devote to that. That's mostly because of the weekend kind of knocked my Lefkowitz editing schedule off kilter a little bit. So I ran out of time, is what it is. But I'll be working on it over the coming days. And like I said, this is something I'm definitely going to do again. But I don't want to go through this weekend and not learn from it. So one of the things I said was, the next time, I think that I will probably put on an educational event, not where you listen to me talking or anything, but bring somebody in, a guest, one of the famous people that have come on to be interviewed, that type of thing. I bet we can get somebody fun to come talk to us and share their wisdom with us. That's one of the things that occurred to me. The other thing is, I would like to, the next time we do this, because so many of you drove so far, and you went to some considerable expense to be there, what with hotels and travel and everything, that I want to make it a fuller weekend, where maybe we have a half day on Friday, not just a dinner get together, and then a full day on Saturday with somebody maybe to come in and talk to us, or maybe a half day in the studio. The studio tour happened, but only just. The studio, as anybody would tell you, is not ready for tours. But I did have a few folks come by and take a peek at it. So that would be something that I think definitely we should consider at the next picnic, is maybe doing a half day where I'm most comfortable, which is not so much out in the field as it is here in the studio. And certainly I could get somebody to come talk to us, or we could do a half day of demos or something like that. There's all kinds of things that we can do. I just don't want to leave it to chance, and I want to avoid having it be less than it could be for all of the travel and effort you put in. I think that we could handle more people. I don't know that for this kind of format we would have wanted too many more. I mean, I wanted to be able to talk to everybody and spend time with everybody, and with a dozen folks, I think it was just about perfect. But I think if we were going to make this a more formal educational event, that I think we could easily handle 20 or so folks. But I would like to get your input, not just the people who were there. I absolutely need to get your input on the good and the bad, what you would like to change, what you would like to see in the future. But for those of you who didn't come but wanted to come, what would you like to see when it is your turn to come? I also want to try to do these things at different locations, closer to where you are. This was a spur of the moment thing. Even when we set this one up, I wasn't positive we were going to do it here. In fact, I thought we were going to do it somewhere else in the state. I'm glad we did it here. It would have been very difficult to do elsewhere, but with time and planning and with some local support from somebody who would help me host the thing, we could do it anywhere. And I would like to think that we could, so that more people could come who wouldn't have to travel. So if you're thinking that something like this, well, let me finish telling you what the something like this was before I get into asking you to help me plan the next one. When we got through at the park, which was about 3 o'clock, and we'd been out hiking around for hours, we did find the pond, and we found lots of cool stuff to photograph, which you'll see in the video. And when we got back and loaded up, we went from there either back here to the studio for a quick tour of the dungeon, or off to Jimmy's, and then we all met at Jimmy's about half an hour later. And I'm glad we did that. I think that Jimmy's got a great place. It was very comfortable. Everybody was very nice. The hospitality was great. The food was enjoyed by one and all. And so it was a good event. And we hung around there for a couple of hours, lots of good conversation. And then those who were heading back left and got on the road. And the rest of us, we went off, and what I did was I came back to the house and fell asleep. Fortunately, it was after I got back to the house that I fell asleep, but I was wiped out. And the next day, those of us that had stayed in town got together at the Botanical Gardens, which is about 20 minutes from where I live. And very nice, absolutely. It was a great idea to go down there, because it was a small piece of land. We didn't get lost, but we could go off and explore on our own, and then reconnect later on. And that's exactly what we did. I think everybody had a good time, got lots of good pictures, had a nice day in the sun, and then headed back. Everybody made it home safe, and I have been in communication with everybody, and haven't heard any complaints yet. So that's the picnic, and I'm super glad we did it. The opportunity for learning, I think is one that needs to be more to the front of the thing for next time. And I've been thinking since the thing wrapped up, not thinking much because I've been doing a lot of editing, and I'm still worn out from the weekend, but thinking about what it is about a group of people like this that get together that seems to be so conducive to learning, and how do we take advantage of that? Well, I've been teaching adults my whole life. That's what I did in my professional career. It's what I'm doing now. But there's something different about teaching folks who want to be there. And I think that's what I experienced this weekend. Everybody that was there was there because we share a passion, not just for the macro photography that we do, but for the community that has sprouted up around it. And we share a passion for knowledge and becoming more capable in whatever it is we're doing is an exciting thing, because I think that the people that were there at the weekend, the people that were here with me this weekend, are all lifelong learners. I think you can just see that in the way people communicate, and this was a group of curious and passionate people who saw an opportunity to be around other people with the same kind of passions and a possibility for learning and teaching too. I cannot underemphasize the importance of the community, and it was the most humbling, or there were a lot of humbling things about this weekend. How good you guys are with your photography is one thing, but also how strong a sense of community has built up around, well, nothing really. Just me making videos and chatting, and people have gathered around, and in the process have met one another. Now, those of you who didn't make it this last time, I really hope you try to make it next time, because I think that you would all have the same experience that this group did. There was nobody trying to prove anything, least of all me. There were no prima donnas. It was everybody was there with a very gracious and generous sense of sharing what they knew, and learning what they could from everybody else. And I think that everybody that I have met through this channel, through these live streams, through the comments that I get on videos, through all the ways that we've touched base and communicated over the last 6 years, I don't know anybody who wouldn't just relish this opportunity to be part of this community. The whole experience, I think, was valuable, because when you have a group of people that get together and have this much in common that you're passionate about, it doesn't really matter what you don't have in common. And it occurred to me that there were people there that I probably didn't have a tremendous amount in common with. And as I talked to them and learned about them, I realized that there aren't many circumstances under which we would have likely struck up a friendship, because without this common ground of our shared passion for macro, we'd never have met. But because of that, everything else was not that important. We didn't talk about politics. We didn't talk about what we do or don't believe in. There wasn't room for any of that. We were talking about the stuff that brought us there, which was how to take better pictures, and how to experience nature, and how to take care of nature as well. So I don't know if this is important in your life, but it's very important in mine, is avoiding situations that create unnecessary friction and tension, and this is the complete opposite of that. This was like a, it's hard to describe. It really is. The group was so functional as a group of adults, that that all of the things that I find dysfunctional in society these days were just left at the door. It just wasn't important. There wasn't room for it. And experiencing that is something that you need to try to do if you haven't. The best way for adults to learn is hands-on. There's no doubt about it. You can read books. Nothing wrong with books, Lester. No, we like your books, but you can read books all day long. You can write books all day long, but until you get out and start doing this stuff yourself with your own hands and your own brain, you don't learn it as well. And this was an opportunity for that this weekend. It was wonderful to see people looking so closely at the technique that Amy was using when she was focus stacking by hand out there in the field. People were looking to see how she did that, paying attention, asking questions. We were hunting for slime molds together and learning where to look and where not to look, and what increase your chances of finding them, and so on and so on. It was not a minute went by that we weren't sharing some useful information that was just getting lapped up by the lot of us. And there is a real power in that shared passion. I think it just knocks down barriers, and it creates a kind of group energy that you could just feel. People were excited to be there, and I was excited to be there with them. So I want to do this again, and I want to get your input, and not just now, not just tonight, but going forward. As the subject comes up, and remember, these things come around so fast. We talked about this a month and a half ago, and now it's over already. So whatever we start talking about tonight is going to be here before you know it. So this is not something we're going to put off and talk about at a later date, and it's not something we're going to get through talking about tonight. But I want to know from you, where do you think we should get together? Is 3 days too much? Not enough? How much of our time would you value spending in the studio, or spending outdoors? Would you want me to bring in some guests, some VIPs to meet and talk to and teach? Would you like to make a game of it? Would you like to I know I talked this time about doing a competition, but I just didn't have time to set it up, I'm afraid. But next time, absolutely, if that's something that would appeal to you. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want to do. And if you're one of those people that did make it this time, thank you for coming, and please let me know. Send me you probably already have, so don't be offended if I'm talking as if I haven't read it, because I haven't read it. If you sent me an email with feedback, then great. But if you haven't, maybe do that. Let me know what you would like to see next time, and and we'll do it again. I would like to see this become a significant and important part of how I do my job. So not just a get together to hang out for a little while, but a formal opportunity to teach and build the community and meet more of you and help in any way I can in making your experience with macro a good one. I think this extended way beyond macro. This was just an important event for me, and I'd like to keep that going. I feel like there's a lot to offer, and this is a good way for me to expand what I'm doing. So let me know what you think. If it sounds to you like I am getting congested, that's only happened since I started talking this evening. But I have not been feeling particularly well for the last 24 hours or so. I thought I was just exhausted, but in fact I might be coming down with a cold. It sounds like I am, and I'm the one doing the listening. Let me see what kind of comments we have from folks, because maybe talking a little less would make the symptoms a little less unpleasant. Let me see. I'm shutting photographs of insects that are all over my screen here. Heading back to there it is, my YouTube studio thing. A visit to Maine would be epic. I love Maine, absolutely love Maine. I haven't been in years though. What time of year, David? When would you do that? When would Maine be best? In the springtime? We definitely want to go when the bugs are out, even though by no means would this all be bugs. Robert, who do you have your arm around in the group photo? Says Robert. Well, I don't know. Let me open it up and see. Was I not supposed to? I think that was Laura. Was it not Laura? Yeah. That's Laura. That's Laura. That's Amy. That's me, and that's Susan. See how the women folk cluster around me? I think, yeah, I'm not sure why that is. Probably because they're shorter than the men folk, so they could be seen. Anyway, yeah, that's who that was. You knew that, surely to goodness, Robert, you knew that. Maine then. Bruce Malcolm. What about Australia, Bruce? It would just be you and me, but it would be a fun picnic, would it not? Glad you came, Bruce. Good to see you. And Russ, you would have liked this. You would have had a good time at this gathering. I think you definitely need to come next time. Yeah, macro family day out. That rather hits the nail on the head, I would say. Yeah, it was. I love the way you put things, Russ. That is actually very much the kind of feeling that it was. It was a get together for a family that just been separated for a long time, doing their own thing. I haven't thanked Amy and Bud and Alistair for what they do. Thank you guys. I appreciate your bouncing this evening. Amy, it was great to see you after so long. It was a real pleasure. Alistair, I'll see you next year. I hope you're planning on coming to the Borders picnic next summer. That's a thing. That's going to be a real thing. I don't know if we'll be able to. Well, I know we won't be able to do everything we did this time because I'm going to be traveling internationally, so I can't bring 2 suitcases full of equipment. But certainly, we're going to be planning something fun for Dunbar. Is the town we're going to be getting together in. Dunbar in the Scottish borders, just north of England. So anybody in the north of England or the south of Scotland, or heck, it's not that big a country. Anybody's anywhere. You could probably swim over from Norway, actually, if you're a good swimmer. And yeah, just saying. So that's going to be in August. But let me see. Amy agrees with me about the height thing in the picture, which is good. George, long drive. What's a long drive? Scotland? Not if you fly the first part. If you fly the first part, it's only about, Well, it'd take you an hour from Edinburgh Airport by car, but you could get the train. That would take you an hour too, because you have to go through Edinburgh to get to Dunbar. But that's, yeah, you should do it anyway. That's going to be a blast. And Bruce is suggesting we hire a Learjet. Okay, let me look into that. Okay, I looked into it. We won't be hiring a Learjet. But yeah, Art, you would have loved it too. You see, all of you folks would have just been a perfect fit for this. Zeno, can you post the IR picnic photo identifying everyone in the photo? I can, and I shall. It'll be on my website. In fact, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to try to finish the post today. My blog post. I will finish it in the morning, and I will put the picture front and center, and I will identify everybody, so that everybody can see who everybody else is when they're photographed via infrared. Yes, to Australia, George. It's a ridiculously long flight. I think 20 hours or something. Don't like the idea of that. Let me see. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to read all of this. The macro picnic goes on tour, says Russ. You're absolutely right, with a little bit of luck. Let me see. Robert says that's a great picture of me in infrared. That's actually what I said to Laura when I saw it. I said that's the first time I've ever seen a picture of me that I liked. I look like a movie star in that, with my black veins in my head and everything. But I'm glad Alistair noted that I had a picture of a bee in flight, because I did, for real. That was handheld too. It's just every now and again. Zeno learned how to find a slime mold in its natural habitat. Not easy to do. And not on a potato salad, David. Nope. Let me see. I think we're about out of time. I tell you what, we're gonna do something I don't think I've ever done before, and finish a few minutes early, because I'm going to have to blow my nose or something. I'm feeling like my sinuses are going to explode. You didn't need to know that, did you? That was too much information. I think it was all that pollen and fresh air that did it to me. Anyway, let me see. I'll see if I can stick it out of the last 4 minutes. I would feel terrible if I quit early. So what did you think of the Lester interview? Hard getting a word in edgeways with Lester, which is good, because I mean, I wouldn't want to take away any of the guy's time. He had an interesting story for everything, and some pictures. Admittedly, some of the pictures looked a bit dated, but they were dated. He took them 35 years ago. He was doing Photoshop before there was Photoshop, and that's pretty special. But yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, really watch the interview. The next one is going to be a different matter. It's going to be more. It's going to be talking about advanced macro photography mostly, and there's some things he and I don't agree on. So there may be a little bit of fisticuffs in there as well. You never know. Probably worth watching just to find out. Anyway, do watch the interview. I think you'll enjoy it, and it keeps going at a pretty good pace. And I think that's everything. And I think we're gonna say it's actually 9 o'clock now, even though it's 60 seconds until. So thank you everybody for coming. Huge thanks to everybody who came to the picnic and made it such a success. It really was a blast. I wish you could all have been there. I think you'd all have loved it. And yeah, let's just work on getting everybody to one of these things eventually. Have a good evening. Thanks again to Laura, to Jimmy, to Tom, everybody who made this weekend possible. And thank you all for coming. And thank you all for coming this evening. And best wishes to everyone. If you want to come watch me blow my nose, that's where we're headed to next. Good night, everybody. Take care.